This show contains profanity, advice you should never follow, humor that you might not enjoy. The names have been changed to protect the guilty. Do not try this at home.
Greetings, Yellow Blazers, Blue Blazers, Bill Bryson lovers, Bill Bryson haters, orange tuxedo wearers, blue tuxedo wearers.
Slow dancers, fast dancers, break dancers.
And toddlers and tiaras. My name is Box Holiday, sitting across... I do that next, don't I? How do we do that? I can never remember. Do I say it now? I know I just did it 5 minutes ago. But
Please keep all of this.
I can never remember.
Welcome to the Box and Pucks podcast.
Oh, okay, welcome to the Box and Pucks podcast. My name is Box Holiday, and sitting across from me...
Puss in Boots.
And when we come back, I'll have my shit together.
Maybe. You gotta keep all of that.
Yeah, I will. God damn it. So, my wife and I, we're back in town because this is our 10th wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And we went out to dinner last night in a restaurant we like in a town called Pittsboro, North Carolina.
Pittsburgh.
And then we stayed with my mom last night. And then this morning we went out for breakfast with my mom. And we went to a place in Cary, North Carolina called the Cary Cafe. You ever been there?
No.
It's not bad if you like an omelet. And one by one, these women came in. And my wife was just like, well, you can tell I don't live around here. I'm like, really? Why is that? And she's like, just because these women, the women of Cary and Raleigh, they just dress a different way. They have a lot more flash and a lot more flair to their outfits. There's also a lot more yoga pants involved.
Oh, yeah.
And so she was just like, I just don't fit in clothing-wise when I come here because she has a little bit more of like a, mountain wear. And it started making me think about the fact that, like, even when you're in the woods and you come out and you're like, oh, I'm wearing this stuff, like, you can spot a hiker from a mile away.
Yeah.
That actually happened to me yesterday. I saw two guys who happened to be in Cherokee. And I was just like, those guys don't fit. And so I was like, are you guys Thru-Hikers? They're like, yeah. Because nobody ever goes to Cherokee. You know why? There's no booze. And, so I was like, oh, you guys Thru-Hikers? Like, yeah, we started talking for a little bit. And they were staying at a hotel in town. Like, the guy had already had a reservation, that kind of thing. But it was like, I spotted them in a town where Thru-Hikers aren't normally. And so, started making us think about, like, you had brought it up earlier, like the things that happen, things that you do while you're on the trail or in the woods that you would never normally do if you're in the quote-unquote real world. And so I think a little bit of that clothing thing came into it. Yeah, we had a lot, like, it was a really good idea. We had a lot of responses to it. But what about you? What comes to mind for you whenever you're...
There's a couple really good ones, and I think it goes hand in hand with, like, the stuff that I took home with me and started doing when I got home, and it would take a while, like, to sort of be like, oh, right, this isn't something you do anymore. As far as stuff that I did on trail, or let me start with stuff that was different when I got home. Before I was on the trail, there were things that I didn't realize I was a snob about. Like, when I was in college, a motel that charged $20 a night was obviously, like, only for ladies of the night, IV drug users, or
Sure.
you were going to be murdered. Like, there was
Right.
just no way you were going to make it out alive. And on trail, it became like a sweet split 7 ways. That's only how many dollars a person? Awesome. And the owner will let you use the washing machine. Sweet. While I was on trail, before I was on trail, like, I not to say that I'm, like, one of those, like, oh, I don't eat that, but, like, I kind of kept processed foods to a minimum.
Right.
And I don't know, like, how many cheese products I ate while I was on trail that, like, clearly said on the label non-dairy. And it's just like...
cheese food.
I'm not... Yeah, cheese-like product. Or processed meats, where it was like, I don't really know what I'm eating, but...
Mechanically separated. You never want to see that.
Yeah, I'm not even really sure what that means, but it tastes great when you're on trail, and it's revolting when you're not.
Yeah, have you ever had like you're at the convenience store and you're like, yeah, Slim Jim, fuck it.
Yeah,
and you're like, fuck me,
yeah.
like that's not the way I remember. Like, you know, something I ate out there that I don't believe I've touched since then. Vienna sausages. Oh God. Dude, I ate the shit out of them.
Did you?
I ate the shit. Like, I'd usually get 1 tin and like.
Did you drink the juice?
No.
Okay.
No. I'd pour that on people's sleeping bags when they slept.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they like that.
No, but I would like save it for like the second day because it's like, it's in a little can. I don't really want to carry that.
Yeah.
And but it was like, oh, Vienna sausage, and like I think I got 1 or 2 like after I got home, and it was like, oh no, this is like a sheep penis.
Oh no,
like it's like
I'm clearly eating a dead baby's finger.
Chewable sheep penis.
Oh God,
mechanically separated sheep penis.
Oh man, yeah.
We'll call that. That'll be the title of this episode.
All right, good. There are foods that like like my husband to be. He's a fan. He comes from a military family. They are fans of Spam and Vienna sausage and, really shelf-stable things. Like, really shelf-stable things. And, if he were... when we first met, he had... I walked into his kitchen in his, like, little apartment. And, I looked into his pantry, and there were 2, like, Sam's Club size flats of Vienna sausage cans. But like, I mean, there were probably 20 cans in this thing, but there were only, like, 7 left. And it was like, you ate all of these. And that's... horrible. And he's the kind of guy that, like, if he saw a Slim Jim in a store, he'd be like, fuck yeah, Slim Jim!
Yeah.
And I look at him with disgust. But if I were buying food to go on a backpacking trip tomorrow, I would buy 3 and stick them in my food bag, like, and wouldn't bat an eye. No. And that's, like, just one of those things that is 150% different when you're on trail versus when you're not on trail.
That was one thing my wife said on the way over. I kind of just posed the question to her after we thought about it. And she said something that wasn't the answer, but she said something about eating. And I was like, eating a lot. Like, that's something that is the complete opposite difference.
Binging? Like super binging on food.
I can eat this. And it's like, you get back home, you're like, no. Like, I know for me, I remember one time, T-Bone, past future guest, we did this huge traverse of this area in the Nantahala Gorge. Like, just, it was an all-day hike. And we had been hiking, like, biking the day before and all this stuff, and, like, had just done all this stuff. But, like, we came down into just shy of Murphy, North Carolina, like, middle of fucking nowhere. You know, like, out where they found Eric Rudolph kind of shit. And I got a fucking Monster Burger back when Hardee's used to have those, and it was like, I need this right now.
This is happening.
Yeah, like,
there's just no way around it.
But it's like if I was driving along, like, oh, let me get a Monster Burger. Like, that would never fucking come to mind.
You'd eat like half of it and then be like, this was a mistake.
Yeah.
This was a horrible mistake. Or like, if you're on trail and you're like, all right, I'm going to stay in a hotel tonight. I'm really craving, like, a good example for me, Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't bat an eye at, like, buying a 6-pack of Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
And it was like, I've got 12 hours to drink this, no problem. And
Go time.
Right. And it's just like, ew.
Yeah.
That is gross.
Another thing I think comes to mind that I would never do in the real world that I did back then was, like, eat an entire pizza and then consider getting a second one to go.
Let's do this all one more time.
Yeah, like I saw somebody, I can't remember who it was now, but it was somebody on Facebook. They put down a picture of like an empty pie pan, like an empty, pizza pie tin. And like at a restaurant somewhere, they're like, I just ate this whole thing. And it's like, I just held back my response of like, get ready, motherfucker.
Yeah.
If you're already eating one in Georgia,
Yeah. Yeah.
wait till Vermont. You're going to have 3.
Hope you saved a lot of money because you're going to eat so much of everything.
Oh, God.
This is, I was thinking about this too. Like when you're on trail, it's not even like it's that it's socially acceptable. It's like it's kind of expected, especially in like the communal living atmosphere, that not only are you going to announce when you have to go poop, but it's a perfectly acceptable response for somebody else to then say, how long do you think you're going to be? It's not something that you would ever... Like, number one, it'd be weird if you said, I'm going to go poop. But can you imagine the response if it was like, cool, how long do you think you're going to be? It's like, that's none of your damn business, asshole. But it's totally makes sense because everybody else is going like, can I wait or should I go dig a hole? Because I'm not really sure. This place has a pretty nice privy. I'd really like to partake in it, but if you think you're going to be more than 13 minutes, my
ass is on a timer.
Yeah, we've got a countdown right now.
That was pretty much when I put the question on Twitter and Facebook, like pooping in the woods, pretty much the number one thing that a lot of people said as far as just what's something you do in the woods. Like pooping was right up there. It's like, yeah, if you're pooping, if you're having to dig a hole at home, something's not going on right in life.
Yeah, it's like my brother had a friend that grew up from birth to early adolescence in a hippie commune.
Oh, like you do.
Yeah. And he's just one of those, it's like when you meet somebody in their 20s that was homeschooled, that you're just like, there's something not quite right about you and I can't put my finger on what it is. And then they're like, yeah, I was homeschooled. And you're like, that's it. There it is.
Gotcha, bitch.
He kind of has the same thing going on. It's like, what is it about you that I can't quite figure out? And he's like, oh, I grew up in a hippie commune. And you're like, yeah, okay. But one of the best things he ever said was that when he was like an early toddler, he wasn't potty trained. He was housebroken. And like that was totally fine. It was like, it's not so much that you're not going to poop and pee in a diaper. It's that you're not going to poop and pee in the house. Like, good job. Way to go, buddy. Keep it flowing. Like outside. If you want to take a dump in the yard, that's cool. Like, make it happen, man.
Let me ask you something.
Way to go. Mm-hmm.
Where you live here, you're in suburbia-ish. Mm-hmm. Can you pee in the backyard? Like, you ever peed in your backyard?
Like me? Or like a...
Or a dude, maybe?
I think if I was a guy, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I mean, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's my backyard, which means it's like...
Well, you guys have one bathroom here.
2.
Oh, you do have 2?
Yeah.
Oh, well, never mind then.
That's okay.
But my wife and I, we have one bathroom in our house.
Right.
And
that would make it different.
Yeah. And then it's like, I'm going to go out and pee. Now, I'm not going to drop a deuce in the yard.
I would,
but I will.
You also have a fenced-in yard, so
maybe
true. If there wasn't a fence, it would be different.
Well, for me, the big thing is I really only have like one side of our house that I can't pee, and that's like facing our neighbor's house. But pretty much the other sides, I can pretty much pee. If someone wants to get up binoculars and look across the valley at me peeing, they probably could. Right. But yeah, no, I think that's just something fun. That's just something fun as a guy. You can pee outside.
Yeah.
And
I dated and lived with a guy for a while that was like, we had one bathroom, and if I had to pee, like, he would pee outside.
Yeah.
But eventually it was like, you can pee outside, but like, leave the front porch, dude. Like, why? You can't just lean it back and try and arch it far enough away. The porch is still gonna smell like piss. Yeah. Like, come on, man.
Exactly.
Have some self-respect. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I grew up peeing outside. I lived out in the middle of nowhere, so I love that. There's just something freeing about peeing in the great outdoors.
Yeah. Now, that said, like, one thing that probably changed, probably not while I was on trail, but after being a wilderness camp counselor, where you just got used to peeing and pooping outside, like, I won't hesitate now that, like, if I'm on a road trip and I really have to pee and there doesn't seem like there's a good place to stop, that, like, I'll just pull over on the side of the road and pee on the side of the road and assume that, like, anybody that's driving past is driving fast enough that, like, if they can catch a second of seeing me pee, it's like, well, good for you.
Oh, she's changing her tire.
Yeah. There's nothing to see here, folks.
How's the beer through the straw working out?
It's good.
It gets to the dome faster.
I don't know if you saw my Twitter post.
I did.
It's wedding diet time, so I ate 2 corn dogs for lunch, and now I'm drinking light beer through a straw, and I feel like it all evens out. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. It's light beer.
It's light beer, so if you drink it through a straw,
yeah,
it's almost like drinking a good beer.
What are you drinking? Is it? Oh, and it's even the Lance Armstrong beer, Michelob Ultra.
That's Lance Armstrong beer?
He used to do the commercials for him before they figured out that he was cheating just like the other 293 people. Let's see here.
Okay. When I posed the question of, like, things that you did on trail that you'd never do in real life.
Right.
This was the one that when I thought of it and, like, remembered it, I just was like, yep, this is a good one. So I had packed myself a bag of stuff that I wanted. I had friends that were going to meet me at trail days.
Right.
And it was like jeans and some, like loose tank tops that were made of cotton and toiletries and stuff like that. That
Right.
It was like, I'm going to really appreciate these come trail days. And one of the things that I put in there, and I was like, this is going to be awesome, is what I lovingly refer to as my downtown George Brown trimmer.
Okay.
Because, I figured the lady bits were going to be getting a little craggly.
Jungly.
Yeah. And so I was like, trail days would be a really good time to trim back the hedges.
To use the old jack-off showers and get portable jack-off showers.
Big deal. So I got this.
Oh, sorry. I just remember the fact that, like, everybody jerks off in the shower. I don't know.
True.
I don't know why.
Totally true.
I forgot.
We should make a sign and take a picture of us holding the sign of, like, International Jack-Off Showers or something like that. I don't know. Anyway. So
JOS. Jack-off shower, baby.
Baptist Jack-Off Shower. Or Methodist. I can't ever remember. The Methodist but Jack-Off Showers. So I had this this trimmer set.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which by that point, like, I did not realize until I had re-landscaped that I was like, this is necessary now. Like, I can't do this.
Right.
I cannot just let it get this out of control again. So I put it in my bounce box. And it was like this is coming with me. It might not be in my backpack, but, like, I'm going to do this at least once a month from now on. So the first time that I was supposed to get the bounce box that had the Downtown George Brown trimmers in it, it was like, I was so excited about it. And I, like, told people about it. Like, I was like, I am so looking forward to this. And everybody that I told brightened up, and they were all like, can I use it? This is something I would
Even
never...
guys?
Yeah,
Oh.
Especially the guys.
Oh, okay.
This is something that I would never do in real life. We passed the goddamn pussy trimmers around, not in the same room, but it was like anytime anybody was going to go into the bathroom for 5 minutes beforehand, you just heard like... And they would come out with trimmed beards and trimmed elsewheres. And we all felt like $1 million. And it was like totally not weird to share this thing.
Well, it's one of those things you're not thinking. It's like that. I've told the story a million times and made you turn purple with me telling it. The girl that couldn't stop cleaning her ears out because it just was pure gold every time she went in there. And it was one of those where she was just like, oh, yeah. Q-tips. And yeah, there's just those things you're like, oh, fuck, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, oh, Q-tips.
Can you imagine staying at a friend's house and being like, hey, do you have anything I can shave my genitals with?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you mind?
And I'm also going to trim my beard.
Yeah. That's not weird, right? Like, that's fine.
Can I use your genital shaver to trim my beard?
Or, like, you walk out of the bathroom. I hope you don't mind. I went ahead and took the liberty of buzzing my snatch with your clippers. Because I saw them there. Nobody else was using them right now, so...
So I figured it was cool.
That's fine, right? It's all good. So that was a good one.
I think another thing that you do out there that you just... Some people will, but just something that commonly isn't done is just farting. Like, not just like you farted, but just like, I'm going to rip this one to entertain everyone else. I want the person who is sitting behind me by 10 feet on the same board in this shelter to feel it.
Yeah.
And my wife said fart baseball. It's one of her things. Like, you just really can't play fart baseball. And for those of you that have played have listening for the first time, maybe, fart baseball, of course, is you're on home. You fart once, you get to first. You fart twice, get to second. But if somebody before you on the other team can fart before you, then boom, you're out. There is some contention on sharting. Some people say that's a grand slam. I say you're fucking out. We're playing fart baseball, not shit baseball. Not shart baseball. But, email me.
You either win or lose.
Yeah.
One or the other.
Email me at Pox.
You're either in or you're out.
I'll send you the rules. I'll send you a copy of the rule book. But like ripping a fart, like it's just like the first couple of times when you were down south or something like that, when you're starting on the trail, you might have heard a fart and been like, then after a while, you're just kind of like, yeah, everybody is just getting it out.
It's up there with, you had talked about snot rockets.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, Dogman, hopefully future guest, when I put it up on Facebook, he was like, snot rockets. And it's like, it's completely true. I know for me, one of the big things when I got back home was cursing. And I'll never forget, I went to go see my mom on her lunch break at work. And I picked her up. And we went out to lunch, and on the way back, I was taking her back to her office, and on the way back, I got into a turn lane, and this guy got behind me and just laid on the horn, and it was like, I can't turn, like it was like a green arrow, but it was like a red arrow, so I couldn't turn. The guy's like, there was nobody coming, he's like, lays on the horn, like, dude, I can't turn.
Green light, but red arrow.
Yeah, it was just a red light for me, but green for everybody else.
Right.
And so he just saw the green and was like, what the hell? Mm-hmm. So laid on the horn. And so I gave over the shoulder, double birds out the window. Fuck you, motherfucker. Just laid into it. And then I realized, oh, my mom is sitting in the passenger seat.
Here.
And she just is staring a hole in the side of my head.
Oh, Mom.
And I put my hands back on the wheel and went, I'm sorry. And this was like 4 days after I'd finished the trail. I'm like, sorry.
I'm sorry you had to see that.
I'm still in the woods. Still in Saigon.
I'm a wild man now. Yeah.
Cursing became one of those where I was like, oh, that's right. I can't do this in front of you people.
I have,
What do you mean, you people?
I've always had kind of a sailor mouth, but
right.
The snot rockety thing, that was one of those things that I brought home with me. And like would do in front of people and then be like, right, that's not something we do anymore. It's like your inside voice.
Anymore, we never did to begin with.
Yeah. The boogers that form inside of your nose form differently when you snot rocket versus Kleenex too. Like,
yes.
And I think I like snot rocket boogers better.
That's like pick my nose. Look.
Yeah, about that. On
the jeans.
But like snot rocket boogers are generally like they're thinner. They coat the inside of the nostril, and they're much easier to peel out and have clean nostrils.
Flick.
Yeah.
Flick that motherfucker.
Yeah.
One thing that also I thought of, I remember Flo Easy, our first guest, regularly when you would finish a meal at night. We'd sit around and, and everybody's eating out of just, a pot. And then you're like, oh, fuck, I got to clean out my pot. But Flo had a dog.
Yeah.
Linville. So you would sit there and so like every night it was customary to look at Flo and say, is it okay if Linville cleans my pot? And if she had eaten a lot or she hadn't had dinner yet, he'd be like, or she hadn't eaten much or she hadn't had dinner, then he was like, yeah, go for it. But if she had already eaten, he didn't want her to, overdo it. But like, just put the pot down and just wait for her to come around, lick your pot clean. Next night, rinse a little, maybe that night, rinse a little water out, throw it out, and then that's that.
Yeah.
Like at home, like, are you like, all right, done with spaghetti. Boom. Put your dishes on the floor. Let the dogs like a little journey clean it up for you there. It's like, no, it doesn't happen that way.
What was I eating the other day? I think I had a popsicle or something like that. I was sitting on the floor. Future husband and I were watching TV, and the dog was like right in my face because I was sitting on the floor. He was just like standing with his nose like 3 inches away from my nose, just like watching me.
Right.
And without even really thinking about it, I just like tipped the popsicle towards him, and he like took like 3 or 4 like full on like top to bottom licks.
1, 2, 3.
Exactly. And the future husband is looking at me like, what are you doing? and I just said to the dog, like, that's enough. and I went back to eating my popsicle, and he just was like,
What?
I'd kiss you with that mouth. And he licks his asshole with that mouth. Sorry, man.
It's a frozen thing. Once it hits frozen, it's done, right?
It's fine.
That's like,
it's totally fine.
it's like dipping in bleach.
Exactly. One thing that I remember, like, leading up to the trail that I was really, like, I am not comfortable with this. And it was something that it probably took, like, a week and a half to 2 weeks before I finally was like, oh, this isn't a big deal. But it is one of those things that it did not come home with me. Like, if I were packing up to go on a week-long backpacking trip tomorrow, I would still have a hard time with it. And that was underwear.
Okay.
I mean, the whole time that I was on trail, I had, like, a pair of... And they were, like, the really breathable kind, but they were still just, like, bike shorts.
Right.
And I had those that I wore underneath my skirt when I hiked, and I would... take those off, put on a pair of long underwear bottoms, take the skirt off, and wear the long underwear bottoms to bed. But can you imagine purposefully waking up every morning and being like, where are those workout shorts that I wore all day yesterday? There they are. Yeah. I'm gonna put these on every day for the next 2 weeks, and then maybe I'll get to wash them at some point.
Yeah.
Like, I was really, and luckily, like, in the back of my mind, I was sort of like, this is instant, like, crazy lady parts infection just waiting to happen.
Yeah.
And I never had any problems with that at all, but it was always in the back of my mind that I was like, I'm asking for a bladder infection or a UTI or a yeast infection or something horrible.
Yeah. A Universal Training Institute?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the most unfortunate name for that business. You ever see those commercials?
Oh, it's like...
From the UTI.
It's like the really fancy Subarus or STIs, and it's like, who didn't think that through? Like, I dated a guy that had the nicest Subaru that you can have.
Yeah.
And he was like, it's my Subaru STI, and I was like, oh, why would you do that? I want to do you so much less now. Like, you'd think that somebody would have. It's like and like Tacoma TRD.
Wait, what's TRD?
It's like traction.
Oh! I thought it was a sexually transmitted something.
No, but like the
STI.
like the Toyota Tacomas on the side, like the really nice ones say TRD, and you just want to be like, turd? Really? Like, why would you do that? You'd think that like car companies would think through their 3-letter acronyms a little bit better.
Well, that's like the old story that I learned in like Spanish 1 in high school was, the Chevy Nova. They just couldn't sell it in Mexico. They just couldn't sell it. Like, it was a big seller in America in the 60s, 70s, whatever it was. I don't know my car shit. But like, they couldn't sell it in Mexico. Nova.
What is...
Nova. No go. to va to go. It's like, it was like, yeah, like, and yeah, it's like no va, like doesn't go. Don't get this. That motherfucker doesn't go.
It's like,
no va.
This is the Suzuki Lemon.
Exactly.
Wow.
Or the Pontiac Aztec, which that's all it needs is just that name. And you ever seen a Pontiac? You know what a Pontiac Aztec is. That's one of the ugliest cars ever.
Yeah,
but it had a fucking tent attachment.
Yeah. They were cool.
I guess in maybe like 20 years there will be Pontiac Aztec clubs.
I have a friend she's a nurse. Mm-hmm. So she just like worked her schedule so that she had 2.5 weeks off. Like, it's no big deal. She and all of her nursing friends did the same thing. So like she and 2 of her good buddies went to New Zealand to go on vacation. And they took a picture of them like at the beach, and in the background is this minivan, and it said like rental on the side. It was like, is that your rental car? And she was like, yeah, pretty much all the rental cars in New Zealand are minivans that have, they're like, it's like the old like VW buses.
Like with the engines in the back or the center.
No, it's like the old VW buses where there was like a little weird attachment on the top. Mm-hmm. But it basically was this tent that accordioned open.
Yeah.
And she said, we rented the one that can sleep 3 on top of the van, but there are ones that can sleep up to 5. And it's like, I recently looked into renting a Winnebago.
Right.
And it's like several $100s per day with a minimum of 4-day rental. And they're fucking renting this minivan for like $100 a day or something. But that's also where they're staying at night. And it's like, so how come we don't do this everywhere? Because that's brilliant.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, and speaking of that, man, there are so many VWs at trail days.
Yeah. And every time I'm like, God damn it, I want one so bad.
And you know what? I might have mentioned before, but when right out of Irwin, there's a shelter like 1 mile off the road in Irwin, Tennessee. And like after you cross by the NOC, Nolichucky, all that stuff, I want to say it was like mile, maybe 2 miles tops. It's not very far. And we had just had like a whole lot of shit happen in Irwin, and just like getting everything taken care of. And so it was just like I got a late start. So it was like, let's just do the 2 miles out, get into the woods, be ready to go. And so we got there, and these dudes came down. We heard these people camping above the shelter. Like, okay, it's kind of like they would have, if they've gotten there, they would have had the shelter to themselves. And then when we get there, like, there's nobody there, so we don't think anyone's there. Then we hear these people camping up above us, yelling and screaming, having a good time. And it's kind of one of those where you're like, if you're staying that close to a shelter, but you're not staying in a shelter, and in your car, you're camping more so than backpacking, it's like, what are you doing up there? Like, you got the shelter all to yourself, all right? So these dudes come down, they're like 17, 16 years old. They come down, and they're like, oh, didn't know anybody was there. We were going to make a fire in the fire pit. Like, that's cool. And I think I've talked about it before. We just, like, all 5 of us just, like, go into the woods, and then, like, we all come back with, like, a dead tree in our arms, like, let's do this. And it was like we all came back with gigantic...
you motherfuckers wanted to make a fire.
Yeah, like all 5 of us come back with like these gigantic trees like that are down. We didn't cut anything down. It just comes up and it's like, let's do this. And I remember at one point in time having a fire in front of that thing and being like, I'm a little bit concerned about this. But so the guy, they hung out for a little while, and they were just like, hey, it was right before you go over a beauty spot. Mm-hmm. And as we discovered in the last time we talked, basically anytime there was supposed to be a beautiful view on something, it was usually cloudy for me. Yeah. So beauty spot was, as far as I know, it was gray and covered in rain and mud.
You could see about 15 feet in front of you. Yeah.
And they said, hey, if you guys get up there, or they're like, hey, if you ever need anything, man, let us know. We're going to be staying up at the parking lot by beauty spot. We got I got a green VW. And so we meet this guy in Tennessee, and then when we get to Damascus, both Barf and I had fucked up boots, and we hitchhiked into not Bristol, but whatever the other town is there. Well, I can't remember the name of it right now. And no, not Abingdon. Anyway, whatever the town is west of Damascus, we get in there to the ski house.
Oh yeah.
And the dude with the pickle bus was staying there. He worked there, and it was like, all right. And for like the 5 years after that, I saw him every year. He'd be back at Trail Days with his pickle bus. But
Hey, man.
yeah, man. Yeah. So there's a tangent for us, and we'll be right back.
Rocky Mountain, straight off 75. So I'll give you. I'm looking to head to Sassafras Gap tonight.
That's Gordon Biggerstaff.
To hear a British person say Sassafras Gap
Yeah.
is delightful.
Yeah, Gordon Biggerstaff. This year's Blimey. And by that I mean he's a white British guy. All right, so earlier I posted, what is something you find yourself doing while in the backcountry that you never would do in the real world? Misty, past contributor, she said, well, I wasn't in the backcountry as it was just a short town stop for a resupply, but I may have twisted up a napkin to use it as a Q-tip in a Subway on the Florida Trail. Yeah, I totally forgot I was in public.
Like a Subway restaurant?
Yes.
Even better.
Yeah, a Subway restaurant. Let's see, like we said earlier, Dogman, Snot Rockets. And he said, trail rules are different from town rules, and we have already taught this to our 7-year-old. Let's see. Amy Fornash said that I never sleep next to strangers in the real world or change my clothes right next to them.
Lucky you. If I had a nickel.
Let's see. Michael Begansky says, wear the same clothes for a week straight. Let's see. Buddy Backpacker contributed here.
Oh, yeah?
Said, wipe your butt with something other than toilet paper, i.e. leaf, bandana, or a sock. I've never had to use a bandana.
Ooh, I don't think I've ever used anything that I was going to carry with me again.
I think I know that at one time in the Smokies, when I got the sickness that was going around, kind of the equivalent of last year's norovirus.
Yeah.
When I got sick, I woke up in the morning and it was one of those like, I just need to go pee. And as soon as the pee started going, it was like, nope. Like 4-year-old grab your dick, clamp down, and run for like a 4-year-old. Like I gotta pee. Like I'm literally pinching the tip and running to the privy, clenching, but feet in front because I'm clenching butt cheeks, holding my junk, and spun around and then like, bam! It all fell out, and I was like, oh God, what do I do? And then so when you go out for a guy, when you're going out to pee. That's your goal, is to pee.
I see.
You're not bringing toilet paper.
I don't know as a guy. And I made that joke a lot when I was in India because, you've got the squat toilets.
Yeah.
And it's like, sometimes you think you just have to pee, and you don't.
Yeah.
And you don't know it until you actually start to pee. And
but you probably would have brought your TP with you, right?
Well, yeah.
See, I didn't. When I go out to pee, I'm not bringing TP.
See, these are things that a woman doesn't think of.
Right. So I'm like...
So, the whole... There's no stopping the pee
No.
once you've started it. The fact that you can grab your dick hard enough to stop the flow of urine.
But then it gets purple and it's like... it's like asking for air.
It's like a fish out of water.
Yeah, yeah. And then as soon as you pee, instead of it like pulling in, as soon as you let go, instead of it like the... like needing the air, instead it's like... and it goes out. So you're like, ah! So you gotta kind of make sure you have it down in the... I'm making it look like it's 18 inches below my ass.
Your dick touches your ankles. That's amazing.
It's amazing.
I had no idea.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I usually just tuck it in my socks.
Yeah, exactly.
No, good God,
Fold
no.
it in half.
Good God, no. But no. So like I remember like I sat down and just like everything came out. There's an ice water spring shelter, and I'm sitting there like, oh, and then it was like,
Oh, no.
what do I do now? And I looked up, and on the door was a piece of 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper that says, "Proper ways to dispose of waste in the backcountry." I was like,
See, that was the nice thing about being a girl is no matter what, when you took a potty break,
took TP with you.
you were gonna bring shit with you.
You brought your shit tickets with you.
Yep, you sure did.
Let's see, what's the other one here?
And eventually I started, I pretty much, I gave up on TP for wipes.
Right.
And I started, and I wouldn't say I soaked the wipes, but I would just like lightly pour rubbing alcohol on them, which was part of my like concern about like infections. It was just sort of like, well, this can't hurt. And it was like one of those like the burning means it's working kind of thing. That was sort of my don't take that advice, like check with your doctor first, but that was one of those things that it was like, this has to work on some level, right? And, you know, maybe it did, because I never had any problems with that. But it was just sort of one of those, like, when you wipe your asshole with alcohol wipes after angry poopies, it's just sort of like,
Yeah.
I'm going to guess that the burning means that I am extra clean right now.
You know what I used to do?
And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed knowing that I was germ-free. Yeah.
The burning makes it feel.
Yeah.
When I worked
tingling.
When I worked out in New
working.
Mexico, there was the second time that I came there. I worked in 2000. I worked in 2003, and in 2003, part of like when you got your meal at headquarters, like you got like a your bags of meals that everybody would split up and carry,
right.
that kind of thing. They did all group meals because it was anywhere from like 6 to 10 people in a group. The second time I was there in 2003, they would give you like a little thing of Purell. And basically every other person that worked there was just like, throw it out. Like, you don't need to carry this with you. And then one guy came back one time and he was old school. Like, he was a little bit old school than like me, about the same age. And he came back. He's like, dude, don't get rid of that thing. He's like, steal it from the group. I was like, why? He's like, you know, like this goes back to you earlier. You were talking about underwear.
Yeah.
And for me, underwear was always an issue of what to take and what to wear, because I never was comfortable with the bathing suit ventilated interior of pants.
Some people are.
Some people love it. Like for me, it didn't work. And so then I would wear like a polypropylene underwear, like tighty whitey kind of looking thing, and sometimes like then actually when I threw like the AT, I literally one time I was having such issues with like underwear and seams. That's always the biggest thing, is seams.
Right.
And so I truly bought a pair of baseball sliding shorts, like what they would put underneath like that, but flip them inside out so the seams are on the outside, and I wore those a lot. But so just, I'm not a skinny guy, and so I don't have the gap.
Right.
I don't have
thigh gap.
I don't have the thigh gap.
Thigh gap is hot this year.
It's hot.
That works against me in all ways.
And so I don't have the thigh gap. I don't have the gap. And so he was like, dude, he's like, it sucks, but just, and you just slap that on either side. Because what starts happening there, it is a little bacterial issue that's going on there. Like, especially if you're out for a few days.
You get the friction, and then that starts to open the skin. It's almost like it's like road rash almost.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of exposed, angry, that it's prone to infection. And,
But you hit that, and I swear, for me, don't take our advice, but that would work for me for like a day.
Yeah.
I do that in the morning, and I was pretty good till the end of the evening if I had that going on.
Yeah.
Until I could get back to civilization and clean up.
Right.
But, so yeah, I mean, that stuff, I would use the hell out of that. But, But, let's see. I think we had some other ones here, right? Let's see. We got past the, the other thing. So you've never used anything else for toilet paper other than toilet paper? Did you ever use a pine cone?
No.
I never did that either, but I guess, like, if you get the pine cones when they haven't opened up.
Right.
And they're still kind of closed, if you go the correct way, supposedly that's like, it's like your buddy's 300 grit sandpaper. I mean, it gets it off.
Feels real good.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see.
I don't know about pleasurable.
So Zach Davis, the author of Appalachian Trials, he said one thing you don't do out there that you normally do, or one thing that you do out there you wouldn't do here is fart the alphabet. I don't think I ever got 26 out.
I'm not that competent, I don't think, but I'm impressed. Yeah. I'm not even mad. That's amazing.
No, yeah. I ain't mad at you. I'm impressed. And let's see, another past guest, Flutterby. She said, spit and pee on the ground wherever I need to, and lay down for the night next to total strangers and wipe my nose with my t-shirt.
Yeah. That's
pretty good. So we got another one now. Let's see, somebody else. Naomi, who she and her boyfriend, believe, just started. Yeah. This isn't really good, but it's funny. Poop on a log next to my boyfriend.
Wow.
Hopefully you buried that log.
My
if you know what I mean.
My future husband, he every now and then, like, you know, a Saturday morning or something like that, we'll both kind of be like, I have to poop, and the other one will be like, yeah, me too. And he always is like, sit on my lap, it'll be fun. He's always like, I'll sit down first, I'll have my legs slightly parted, you can sit on my lap, and it will be a bonding moment. And it's always like he always seems like, I'm totally down for this. This is a great idea. And I'm like, no. We have 2 toilets in this house. Thank you very much.
I will always joke with my wife that whenever she goes to the bathroom, like, oh, I got to pee too. And I'm like, just sit down and spread your legs a little bit wider. I'll pee in between.
Yeah, that gets brought up a lot here too.
So it must be a thing that everybody does. Like, oh, I gotta go too. Like, just spread your legs a little bit, not just.
Here's what we're gonna do. The girl's gonna sit down first, reverse cowgirl, and then you can just stick it between the cheeks.
Wasn't that a Tosh Point thing where he was like,
idea.
I think where he said like, I think it was him where it was just like, you guys can keep sitting that way. I'm gonna sit this way, and I can eat a bowl of cereal.
I do remember, like, one time, when I was growing up, my bathroom that my brother and I shared had a door that it was like, it would automatically shut, but it would, like, close and then spring back open about, like, 1 or 2 inches. And so it would just barely be cracked. And it'd be one of those things that you'd think that you had shut it, and then it would just sort of crack back open a little bit.
Right.
And so every now and then you'd, like, sit down to pee or poop or something like that, and you'd be like, oh, God damn it, the door's open, like, a tiny bit. And you'd just sort of be like, well, already started. I'm not stopping now. But I do remember there was one time, like, there was a weird phase where I was like, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this the other direction.
Yeah, why not?
Where, like, I think I was in, like, the 6th grade, and it was like, let's give this a shot. And I remember my mom, like, I could hear my mom walk by the bathroom, and then I could hear her foot sounds, like, stop and back up a little bit, and it was this, like, fuck, she's watching me through that crack and wondering what the fuck her daughter's doing, straddling the toilet backwards. God damn it. This is going to be a hard one to explain. This is going to be one of those things that I hope as an adolescent she just glosses over and doesn't ever bring up.
And how do you bring that up? So I noticed when you were in the bathroom.
So I can't help but notice the other day you were sitting on the toilet the wrong way. How long have you been doing this?
How long have you been doing reverse cowgirl on the toilet?
Let's. I don't. You can do whatever you want, but let's talk about this. So I can't believe, like, it's mid-April.
I know.
There's so many people that are, like, in it.
Yeah.
Like,
it snuck up.
Like, they're past the beginning. They're in it.
You know what I was really surprised by? Last year we had a lot of people that were like, we knew their story, and we don't have as many we know there's like 1 or 2 people we kind of know their story this year, like Wild Child. Yeah, like Hiker Wild Child. Like she's I know she made it to actually Wild Child made it onto Mountain Crossing's Instagram account.
Oh, cool.
And a few other people, and let's see, then there's one picture where it was like the first night out for some people, and I saw Wild Child sitting up on a what is that, Hawk Mountain shelter? It's like 8 miles in the first day, and she's like sitting up on the thing, big smile on her face. Yeah. But we know the stories of a couple of people this year, more than last year. You and I are really busy. Yeah. You've got the wedding coming up, and for me, I've got the 2 jobs and the anniversary and all that stuff. But after this weekend, I should be pretty good meeting up with folks. But yeah, no, it is the middle of April, and it's already rolling. It's just
I can't.
No, I mean,
can't believe it.
So we're really getting close to time for trail days.
Yeah. And
this year, I think both of us have all the time off, so we're actually going to be there Friday through Sunday. I'm not going to just be there for one day like I was last year. I wasn't even there for 12 hours, I don't think.
I don't think you were.
I think I was there from like 8 a.m., and I drove there that morning, and it was a 4-hour drive. So it was like 4 a.m. to like 8 p.m. was me. And but so this year we're going to be there for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And on Friday and Saturday, we're going to be set up in front of the Mojo's Trailside Cafe, which is directly across the street from Dots, right next to the Outfitter there on the west side of town,
Right
or
at
the
the
north
start,
side of town.
The meeting place for the parade to start.
Yes, yeah, we'll be there for that. And then on Saturday, after the parade, after everything else goes on, at the west end of town, there's the Damascus Brewery. It's a little bit west of the main part of downtown, not far at all. And that's where we're going to be having the prom we've talked about. We have people working on logos for us. We have people that are like setting up websites for it. We didn't really talk about it last time, but one of our goals is to have a photo booth set up so people can take their photos prom style. Let's see, we are going to have a king and a queen of the prom. And then I think we've also said we're going to have like a contest for the best costume or get up. And I know you like it when I say get up.
I love it when you say get up.
But I mean, what else is it called? It's got to be a get up, right? Outfit sound. Guys don't wear outfits. What's the equivalent of a get up?
Attire. Wardrobe.
Okay, yes. All right, Miss Thesaurus. Using words I should know.
Get up.
Well, get up, yeah. I mean, I think a get up just seems more like a something that hiker trash would wear.
Yeah,
they wear a
that's
get
true.
up. But
Look at you when you get up.
let's see. Okay, so let's say you were through hiking and you had to use just what you had in your pack.
Yeah.
Could you form a get up?
I could form a get up with anything. Let me just go ahead and say, as long as it doesn't have to be used again, like for its original purpose, I could MacGyver the shit. The couch that you're sitting on,
Yeah.
I could make a Tarzan outfit out of that.
Yeah.
No problem.
That's
Give me
true.
like an X-Acto knife and maybe like a hotel sewing kit, and I would be good to go.
And Pinterest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I needed it.
It would help.
I'm pretty sure I could gut that pillow and like make an Indian headdress. No problem. I grew up making my mom like did not believe in buying outfits for Barbie dolls.
Right. Get ups.
So yeah, exactly.
Barbie doll get ups.
So I, for like my entire childhood, made clothing for my Barbie dolls out of tissues and elastic ribbon.
Really?
And they had beautiful outfits. So I feel confident.
I used to, as a child, scare my parents by using fishing line and Kleenex, and I would just like get like 3 or 4 Kleenex and ball them up and then put them inside of one Kleenex and make a ghost out of it. And then I would tie fishing line around like the quote unquote neck of the ghost. And then I would put it out my bedroom window, which was like right above their living room. And so they'd be in there watching TV, and I'd have like 2 or 3 of these like Kleenex ghosts on fishing line, like woo, like bobbing them outside the window, and wait till they would freak out. So those ghost get ups.
You're really proud of that.
No, I just realized I was in on it, and then I was like, well, I got to finish this story.
Yep. Yep. Well, it started this. So
Here's how this went. Let me get to our Twitter comments here real quick. At BPack Engineer, they said not showering for days and eating junk food all the time. That's another thing.
There are times like when I'm at home where I will like realize that I haven't taken a shower in 3 days, and then I'm like, then I question my mental state.
Yeah.
And I'm like, am I horribly depressed right now? Like, what's the problem? Is everything okay?
You know what always used to get me, that I thought about this the other day, because I actually saw, have you ever watched the show American Dad? It's the cartoon.
A little bit, yeah.
Well, there's an alien on there, Roger. And at some point in time, Roger goes to college or something. And he like jokingly holds his armpit up to somebody's face. Like, smell it, bro. Smell it, bro. It's like, I'm so skank right now. And I remember saying those same things when I was like a freshman or sophomore in college. Like, so skank right now, dude. I'm so like, and just taking pride in the fact that I hadn't showered.
Right.
And, you know, and like, I just think back to, I'm like, God, how much did I stink to the people around me? But then I think back to the AT, you know, and of course I've told stories many times about people, you know, my nose hurts and that kind of thing. And the fact that I showered like once through Vermont or whatever it was. And I just think to myself, like, God, like that's just one of those things where you're just like, you would never go that long without showering or changing your clothes.
No.
And that's what some people said, like a few people said, you know, not wearing, wearing the same thing for 2 weeks and thinking it's normal. At BC Outdoor said that.
At some point on my hike, I got on a train. Like, I was on a train.
Oh, yeah?
For, like, several hours. And I remember, like, being... It wasn't like I was embarrassed. It was just like a...
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'm gonna be that person on this train that everybody for like the first hour is trying to like pinpoint where the smell's coming from, and then they're gonna realize it's me, and it's just not gonna make sense to them because here I am, for all intents and purposes, I just sort of look like some college kid maybe that like decided not to wear real pants, and I have a backpack, and like that's all, but there is a truly horrible smell coming off of me. And there's not one thing I could... Even if I took a shower and went to a Walmart and bought all new clothes for the ride home, I still have my pack with me. And it still smells just as bad, if not much worse, than I do.
Exactly.
So no matter what I do at this exact moment in time, I will smell horrible the entire time I am in an enclosed space with the general public.
So I just don't know why I remembered this, but on my way back from Maine, you know, took a 24-hour bus ride, and the first 23 and a half hours of it, or the first 22 and a half hours of it, was like between 8 buses. It just sucked. And then the last leg was Richmond, Virginia to Raleigh, which is like an hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that tops. That was the last leg, and it was just like, oh, I just can't wait. But we had like a 3-hour layover in Richmond waiting. And I was sitting there, and I'm like just so delirious. And I'm also so dumb and young. I look over at this guy, and he was an African-American dude. He was just sitting there, and he had his backpack. And then he had like this really cool, tiny, rolled-up Oriental rug with him. And I was like, that's a really cool little Oriental rug. And I was like... And then Barf was like, I got to go to the bathroom. Like, you watch my pack. Like, yeah, no problem. So I'm sitting there, and I'm about to go over and tell this dude, like, because he was on our bus, and he was waiting for the same bus we're getting on. And so I was about to go over. I was like, man. And so Barf comes back. I'm like, that's a really cool rug that guy has. I'm like, I wonder why he has that little rug. And Barf's like, he's Muslim.
He's Muslim.
He's gonna... And I'm like, what?
This is prayer rug, dude.
I'm just sitting there like, that's a really... I wonder where he got that. He's traveling with that rug.
Fine rug you got there, sir.
Can you imagine? Stinking ass Pox goes over, hey, that's pretty...
Fucking redneck.
That's a nice rug you got there.
Cute boy. That is a fine rug you have.
That's a fine rug.
My, what a strong dark face you have.
That's ridiculous. Oh, we should end this. What do you think?
Yeah.
So you can find us at Pox and Puss on Twitter, at Pox and Puss on Instagram, at Pox and Puss on Google Plus, at Pox and Puss on Pinterest.
I think it's just Pox and Puss.
Just Pox and Puss. You can find me at Pox Holiday on Instagram and Twitter.
At AT Puss in Boots on Twitter. Puss in Boots AT at Gmail for email.
And yeah, you can find us at poxandpuss@gmail.com or poxholiday@gmail.com. Yeah, let me know if you want to find out that, what was it I had? The rules of fart baseball.
Yeah.
I'm sure my wife will compile that for you in a very small 100-page booklet.
And take a look at our t-shirts on Etsy's Pox and Puss website.
And also just make plans whenever you're coming to to Trail Days to find us either at the west end or west/north end of town. out in front of Elaine Pritchett's place, which is called Mojo's Trailside Cafe, or you'll be able to find us Saturday night at the Damascus Brewery, in just a little bit west of town from 9 to midnight. There's going to be music all day at the Damascus Brewery. Go there during the day, check it out, and then that night we're going to be there with everything from our doing photos to dancing. And also the other thing is, if you think of a song that you really like and you think it's danceable, email me at poxholiday, or email me poxholiday@gmail.com, or just hit me up on Twitter at poxholiday. And just let me know if the song works out. Please don't take offense if I don't play your song, because we were talking about this before. There are so many songs that sound danceable for the 20 seconds if they're just not. But just let me know if there's a song you really want. Just so you know, Good Vibrations by Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, don't worry, it's going to be on there. That's the most...
It's a high priority for me.
You know what I think did it?
Donnie D's on the backup, drug-free, so put
the crack up. You know what I think did that? The Don Juan movie. What's his name?
Don John?
Don John, yeah, Don John. Yeah, that, because it's such it just, that the whole entire commercial has nothing but Funky Bunch on it. It's covered in Funky Bunch.
It's been one of my favorites for a really long time.
Fuck yeah, dude. There's a great podcast out there that uses this guy who does a wonderful Marky Mark, and he's now on Douglas Movies, and he plays Marky Mark on the movie. He's good. It's funny
up there
stuff.
With, LFO Summer Girls, like,
oh,
it's is it LFO?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Oh
yeah.
my god, that song. Summertime girls got it going on.
Is it a dance song?
Shake and a wiggle to a hip hop song. Not really.
Yeah, it's just kind of more of like a summertime song.
It's basically like 15 years older version of Good Vibrations.
Right.
It is. I'm trying to. The things that he refers to William Shakespeare as like Billy Shakespeare, and he makes a reference to oh god, what was that horror
Abercrombie and Fitch?
Yeah, and Mr. Lippy, it was that awful movie where the guy that plays Barney voiced illustrated fish in a movie that the rest of it was real life.
Finding Nemo?
No, it was like Mr. Lippy or Limpy or
I don't know that one.
Mr. Limpy, I think it was.
But there was an Abercrombie and Fitch
yeah.
mention in there, right?
I like girls that wear Abercrombie and Fitch. Take her if I had one wish, but she's been gone since that summer.
Yeah.
Since that summer.
You know what song I heard the other day that I was like, what the fuck are people thinking? Was Glycerine by the guy that's married to Gwen Stefani.
Yeah.
Do yourself a favor and go back and listen to that song.
Oh, glycerine.
And every single rhyme in it is like you gave it to a 5-year-old and said, hey, rhyme these words.
You is smart. You is kind. You is important.
And we'll see you next time on the Fox and Puss podcast.
Oh, shit. Hey, do you have anything I can shave my genitals with?
I'm still in the woods.